Okay, greetings. So today we're going to talk about why political third parties keep getting it wrong. Coming out of the recent elections, I realized that third parties in Jamaica keep making the same mistake. And as you know, the old saying, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, then you're really defining madness. Now, political third parties in our country continues to emerge, but at the same time, they all die quietly and they, just disappear into total oblivion after a while. Among the most prominent ones, we have the National Democratic Movement, NDM, formed in 1995 by former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, who would become Prime Minister in 2007 after rejoining the Jamaica Labour Party. And in recent years, we have seen the emergence of the United Independent Congress, UIC, led by Joseph Patterson. And later, a few years later, we have had the Jamaica Progressive Party, JPP, founded by Gilbert Edwards. However, what I've realized is that none of these fringe political parties have been able to break the tight duopoly of the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. Now, I must say that leading up to the recent general elections, it dawned on me that these political third parties have one thing in common, and is the main reason why their impact on our political landscape is so insignificant in my view, and why Jamaicans hardly take them serious. Now, I wanted to answer this question. Have you ever noticed how these political third parties tend to appear just a few months before a general election is announced? Think about it. For the past 30 years, political third parties tend to only emerge or resurface from oblivion in the year of a general election. This leads me to a few pertinent questions. I definitely have to ask these questions. Now, why political third parties believe such an approach is logical and will give them the best chance of winning a seat or win the general election? Because you only appear a few months before an election is announced, and then after that you just disappear into obscurity. But every time when it gets to an election year, they tend to just appear. And for some reason, I'm saying to myself, do these people really think that this is the best approach? Do they really believe that the Jamaican electorate are so ignorant that they will ignore the JLP and PNP and elect them to power? Now, if this is the strategy, or if this is their strategy, then they are wasting their time, honestly. I know a lot of persons love to talk about the level of ignorance among the electorate, but you will never see a candidate of any political third party in Jamaica get elected without doing substantial work on the ground. That's my view. That is how it has always been, right? You have to do some work, right? Now, here's a case in point. Take, for example, the leader of the JPP, Gilbert Edwards. It is said that he is a multi-millionaire who is so wealthy that he alone can pay off Jamaica's debt. Now, Mr. Edwards chose to contest the Southwest St. Catherine seat in the just concluded elections and, as expected, failed miserably to have any impact whatsoever. He gained only 97 votes in total. Well, according to the EOJ data, there are some 43,000 registered voters living in Southwest St. Catherine. At the end of the election, just over 10,000 voted for the JLP's incumbent Everald Warmington, while almost 8,500 cast their ballots for the PNP's Dr. Kurt Wall. To put this into greater context, more than half of those registered to vote in this constituency did not even exercise their right to vote for whatever reason, but clearly did not see the JPP leader as an option. And it was definitely the case for all its other 42 candidates who put themselves up during the elections. What the JPP and other third parties must ask themselves is why the electorate keeps rejecting us. That's an honest question they need to ask themselves. Now, I always hear the common cry as to why third parties tend not to do well is that it's a matter of funding. They do not have the funding. Yes, we know that money plays a big role in modern day politics. But again, take the JPP for example. Money is not an issue for them. Well, at least that's what they have led us to believe. Yet, the electorate did not see them as a viable alternative. If any exists, I am yet to see, but at no point in time did I see any fundraising event being organized by the UIC or NDM. So therefore, how do they intend to raise funds? The JPP have some wonderful ideas that resonate with me, such as replacing our monthly water bill with a 1% water tax across the board on consumption items like food, fuel, etc. Yet this and other excellent ideas they have articulated did not move the needle as far as the voters were concerned. Where I believe third parties are going wrong is their lack of groundwork. I mean, think about it. Politics is a long-term game, especially for those political movements we considered up and coming. You have to be on the ground amongst the people on a regular basis, listening and attending to their needs, whether it is financially, socially, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. You get the drift, right? It is a relationship that requires the leader of this partnership to be ever present as often as humanly possible, while instituting systems that will enhance his or her chances of being elected. Again, let's look at the JPP and its leader. With the exception of those close to Mr. Edwards, no one here in Southwestern Catherine knew beforehand that he will be contesting the seat. The team around him failed, in my view, to make him visible and accessible to constituents. Where were his handlers? I have to ask. Managing his social media presence, ensuring that his and the party's messaging had strong presence online and local media, be it advertisement, interviews, or making speeches at functions, or attending social events like a football match, back to school extravaganza, or a simple grave digging, funeral, or candlelight vigil. We didn't see that from the JPP and its leader, right? The same can be said of all other members of the UIC, NDM, or even independent candidates. Being involved in these events is par for the course in representational politics. You must bear that in mind. If you want to be successful in representational politics, you have to be involved on the ground. I mean, for the most part, think about it. Isn't this exactly what the JLP and PNP have been doing since their creation in 1943 and 1938 respectively? They have been on the ground with the people, I guess even except for the Garissa constituencies, right, in which you don't really need to campaign, right? But for the other constituencies, you have to be on the ground and be amongst the people. Now, I can understand that, this approach doesn't guarantee success, but is a proven formula with a good success rate nonetheless. Think about it. By being on the ground, for example, Dr. Kurtwal gained over 2,000 more votes, though he lost. Everald Warmington lost in 1993 and 1997 before tasting success in 2002 and every election thereafter by being on the ground. So, yes, putting up yourself or your party for election is an indication of a vibrant democracy. And, us Jamaicans, we should not take it for granted. We have a very vibrant democracy, right? But it's an insult, in my view, to the intelligence of the people to seek their vote without demonstrating the willingness, capabilities, and capacity that you are deserving of being their elected representative. I am one of those persons who would love to see a third-party candidate being elected to the parliament, but only by their works. I think it is very, very important. Now, before I go, I want to inform you that you can now place your obituaries, that announcement in memoriam on the Old Harbour News website. You go to our website, you go to Discover Here, you come down to obituaries, and this is where the death announcement in memoriam eulogy, you can now book your placement here on our website. Also, you can go to Discover Here and you'll go to Real Estate here and you can list your properties here as well on our website. So you can call us and book your your ad, whether it is a property or whether you want to inform the community of the passing of a loved one. The beauty about booking an ad, placing a death announcement or in memoriam is that you can come here and share it on our webs and on your status on your social media platforms. So now I know sometimes when the families are in mourning, they would say, oh, they didn't hear the death announcement on the radio or television. But now someone can just share it in the family group, and then that's confirmation that the death announcement has been placed. So feel free to call our sales representatives and they will guide you through the process. So remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Remember to always leave a comment, and we will catch you on the other side. Thanks for listening.